I've been in the automotive repair industry for a lot of years. And anybody that works in that industry will appreciate what transpired today. And I could name a million stories of what I've seen over my career, but this was pretty... I don't know if this guy was dumb or just the most brilliant son of a bitch I've ever met. So, man and a wife come in. What's happened is the husband has decided to fix the brakes on his wife's car on his own. And in the process of doing that, for those of you who know anything about brakes, he breaks the caliper bolts that hold the cradle to the caliper. Not the mounting bracket, but the cradle bolts, which is a pretty important part of the caliper operation. Not only did he break them off, but they break off and they're stuck in the caliper slide pins, and he has no earthly idea how to get them out, which is why him and her are riding together and they're following the tow truck. Things happen. If you watching a YouTube video on how to do your brakes and you've never worked on a car before, then God love you. Or as my mother used to say, bless your heart. Because there are some things, if you try to be good at Little League Baseball or T-ball, then you can say, well, at least he's trying. When you're dealing with brakes on a car, that's not something you want a participation trophy for. Unless you're trying to get rid of the person that drives that car, then that's a whole different issue. But I would think when it comes to something safety-wise, you'd want a competent professional to do it. But having said that, you can go to YouTube and find videos on anything, right or wrong, bad or indifferent, and they may have good information or bad information. And I could go off on a tangent on that, but I'm digressing from my story. So they walk in and they explain that to me. He explains it. It was the damnedest thing. I went to take the caliper bolts off, and they were so tight I had to jump up and down on the ratchet. Yes, that's what he said. And was absolutely shocked when the bolt broke. I'm watching her, and she's pacing back and forth in the showroom, so she's not happy. And he said, so I'd like to get it fixed as cheaply as possible. And I said, okay, so cheap went out the window about the time you were jumping up and down on that guy just not paying attention, damn near ran into me. Like, remember the moron video? That went out the window when you're jumping up and down on a tool that it doesn't have that stated on it, but you would think it wouldn't have to. That's not what it's designed for. So now it's a matter of fixing what you screwed up and making the car safe and back to factory specification again. There's more to this story. I'll be back. But to continue. So, and that always... Sorry, that just amazes me how... somebody screws something up to the point it's got to be towed in, and now all of a sudden money is an issue. And that's an everyday occurrence. It really is. But like I said, she's pacing back and forth, and she finally has boiled over at that point. So she steps up to she doesn't just step up to the counter, she pushes him out of the way to make room for her. to address me, but she's really addressing him, but she wanted to be in front of me when she did it. She's talking to me, but directing it at him. And she starts off with, this is just like when he fished or tried to fix the dryer and we bought a new one. And then he tried to fix the refrigerator, the ice maker. And I don't know how the hell he did it, but trying to repair an ice maker, we had to buy a whole refrigerator. And then we had a leak in the roof and he thought he could shingle. That was 4 days in the hospital when he fell off the roof. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. The TV went out. He took it out to his workshop, and she did that in air quotes. And he took it all apart and tried to fix it. When he plugged it in, it shocked the shit out of him. And when our son came home because he fell off his bike and he scraped up his knee, when he went to grab him, that's when I almost pulled a gun on him. Because he's killed everything else he worked on. I didn't want him anywhere near our kids. Fix my car, whatever it takes, it don't matter. It's his American Express. He's going to be covering it. I'll pick it up. Just take care of it. So there's a couple morals to the story here that I could come up with, but I think the one moral that I had at that point was this should be a cautionary tale. There are some things that people can do. I'm not a roofer. Have I shingled before? Yes. Was I absolutely shocked that I didn't have a leak when I got done? You're damn right I was. I've never done it before. And I did what most people do. I researched it. I watched YouTube videos. I read up on it. It seemed like it was fairly easy. It turned out to be a little bit more difficult than that. But the concept of the shingle really does most of the work for you. I'm not going to operate on myself by watching a YouTube video. So it's cautionary to the point where, in the immortal words of John Wayne, a man's got to know his limitations. So, having said that, that's where I was at that point. She storms out. As he's leaving, he turns back to me and says, the more I screw up, the less I have to do. Winked at me and walked out the door. Now, do I think this guy intentionally fell off his roof 3 times, if that's truly what happened, just to keep her from asking him to do shit? I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know that I would do that. That seems like that would be, that's a little rough, but if it gets him out of this stuff, I don't think he did this. I don't think he broke. I don't know. So either he's really dumb or he's got it figured out. I don't know which. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.